My coffee mug slips from my fingers and crashes against the kitchen tile, scattering ceramic shards across the floor like startled birds. I hardly notice. My eyes remain locked on my phone, thumb scrolling through image after image of beaming faces gathered in my aunt's sunlit backyard. 34 guests. I count them methodically, as though the number might change if I try again. Cousins I haven't seen in years. My mother's college roommate. Even Great Aunt Judith, who needs a walker to get around. Everyone, except me. The bridal shower photos show cream-colored linens, coral and mint floral centerpieces, champagne flutes clinking in toast after toast. A celebration carefully planned weeks, maybe months, in advance. A celebration I only discovered existed this moment. The sting cuts deeper because just last month, I sent Fiona a handwritten congratulations card pressed with flowers from my balcony garden. I even offered to design her wedding invitations, programs, whatever she needed, free of charge. As a cousin's gift. My Portland condo suddenly feels cold despite the spring sunshine streaming through the windows. That light, warm minutes ago, now feels like a spotlight exposing me. And I realize, I wasn't forgotten. I was deliberately erased. I sink onto a kitchen stool, memories crashing over me like an unforgiving tide. Last Thanksgiving comes back in sharp focus. Aunt Marlene's voice filled the dining room as she praised Fiona's recent promotion. Vice president at the bank at only 29. Always knew she'd make something of herself, she said, beaming. Then her gaze slid toward me, smile thinning. And Ocean is still doing her little hobby. The logos and whatnot. That little hobby that paid for this condo. That little hobby that brought me 3 national brand clients. My parents sat there, nodding in quiet agreement, while Fiona was paraded like the family's golden child right in front of me. Even when I mentioned saving $150,000 for a down payment, the conversation veered back to Fiona's engagement ring. My fingers tremble as I pick up my phone and press call on my mother's contact before I can talk myself out of it. She answers on the 4th ring. Ocean? Is everything all right? Her tone carries that familiar cocktail of concern laced with judgment. Like she's already decided I'm overreacting. There was a bridal shower for Fiona yesterday. Everyone was there. Why wasn't I invited? A heavy pause. Then a sigh. Oh, that. Well, Marlene thinks you always make everything about yourself. Fiona deserves her special day. The accusation slaps harder than I expect. When have I ever? Please don't start. Ocean, this is exactly what we wanted to avoid. Your cousin deserves to be celebrated without drama. My spine stiffens. I hadn't realized I was hunching forward, making myself smaller. So I'm drama now? That's what you all think? It's not personal. Ocean. Those words again. The words she always uses when she wants to dismiss my feelings. My free hand stops trembling. A strange calm settles in. This wasn't a mistake. This was discussed. Agreed upon. I'm going to call Aunt Marlene. Ocean. Don't. My mother's voice rises. But I end the call. When Marlene answers, her voice is clipped, impatient. I don't bother with small talk. Why wasn't I invited to Fiona's bridal shower? Silence. Then, I was wondering when you'd call. No apology. No excuse. Just cold acknowledgement. You shouldn't be there. Fiona deserves a day that's just hers. Just hers. As if my presence could somehow dim her joy. I'm her cousin. Her only cousin. The words sound hollow. Meaningless. Blood relation means nothing. Listen, Ocean, Marlene says, her voice hardening. We've all discussed this. The wedding plans too. Don't make this bigger than it needs to be. Some relationships in this family are already strained. The threat isn't subtle. Push back. And whatever thin thread still ties me to them might snap completely. I stand at my kitchen window, staring at the city stretching beneath me, and suddenly see it clearly. My family has always valued appearances over connection. They always have. I hang up without a goodbye. The silence in my condo no longer feels heavy, it feels clarifying. A cardinal lands on my balcony railing, its red feathers burning bright against the gray spring sky. It watches me briefly before taking off. And I wonder what it must feel like to be that free. Later that afternoon, while sketching logo concepts for a client, My phone buzzes. I almost ignore it. Deadlines don't wait. But habit pulls my eyes toward the screen. A group message from Marlene. Remember to bring Fiona's wedding flowers on Saturday. Good thing we didn't invite Ocean, less drama. My pencil freezes mid-stroke. The room tilts slightly as I lean against the counter. Breath shallow. Deleted seconds later. But not before I capture the screenshot. Fiona. Marlene. My mother. Of course. The next morning, I drive to my parents' suburban home. That screenshot burning a hole in my pocket. Mom answers the door in gardening clothes. Dirt streaking her cheek. Ocean? What a surprise. I was just about to make tea. Inside, framed photos crowd the mantel. Fiona centered in most of them. My face, half hidden in shadow or caught mid-blink. I got an interesting message yesterday. I say, pulling up the screenshot. Her expression doesn't shift to surprise. It sags into resignation. We all agreed it would be easier this way. She murmurs, smoothing invisible wrinkles from her pants. Fiona deserves a beautiful wedding without complications. Complications? The word tastes metallic. You mean me. Now, Ocean, don't be dramatic. Perhaps you should make other plans for that weekend in May. Other plans? My voice is steady though my hands tremble. While my cousin gets married at the Grand Lake Hotel? That $95,000 wedding where every distant relative gets an invite but me. Her eyebrows rise faintly. How did you know about the venue? Cousin Rachel called last week asking about carpooling. She assumed I'd be there. For the first time, I watch her flinch. The silence stretches like a canyon. Your father and I think it's better this way. She finally says. The whole family agrees. And what exactly has the family been told about me? I ask quietly. She looks away, fiddling with a loose thread. Just that you've always been sensitive when Fiona gets attention. The betrayal lands hard. Years of Thanksgivings where I sat quietly while Fiona was toasted. Years of my milestones ignored. You're erasing me from the family story. I say, the truth crystallizing. Everyone believes I'm difficult because you've told them I am. That's not true. She protests. But her eyes won't meet mine. It is true. And now I'm left with a choice. Accept being erased or risk losing the scraps I have left. She stands and crosses to the window. I hope you make the right decision. Your father and I have been helping with your property taxes. If you cause trouble over this wedding, cause trouble? I laugh. Bitter. Like standing up for myself? Like refusing to disappear? Her voice hardens. This is exactly why Marlene thought it best to leave you out. Everything becomes drama with you. I leave without goodbye, driving aimlessly for hours. Deadlines slide by. Revenue evaporates. I wait, phone in hand, hoping someone will tell me this was all a mistake. No one does. That evening, Isla shows up at my door with Thai food and wine. She listens. Really listens. Without dismissing or interrupting. That's textbook emotional manipulation, she says, refilling my glass. They're gaslighting you into believing you're the problem when they're the ones excluding you. Her words feel like the first sip of water after days in a desert. Later, alone on my balcony, I watch city lights flicker on as darkness falls. The cardinal returns, perching briefly before flying off again. I sip wine gone warm and wonder, should I crash Fiona's wedding and force a confrontation? Or step away completely, and plan a celebration of my own? The morning light in Portland feels harsh. Almost surgical. When my phone buzzes at precisely 8:17 a.m. Fiona's engagement photos flood my Instagram feed, her flawless smile beaming as her fiancé gazes down at her beneath a canopy of autumn leaves. The caption below slices sharper than glass. Celebrating our journey with those who truly support us. Keeping our wedding intimate with only the people who've always been there. The bitterness lingers in my throat like bile. Before I can even put my coffee cup down, 3 direct messages roll in from cousins I've barely spoken to in years. Why are you making drama during Fiona's special time? Family should support each other no matter what. Marlene's so upset about your behavior. I set my phone face down on the counter. Chest tight. Their accusations make no sense, until realization crashes over me like ice water. They're rewriting history. In their version, I wasn't excluded. I refused to come. It's a lie spreading like wildfire, reshaping the family story without my voice. By evening, The infection has spread further. My grandmother calls, disappointment dripping from every word. Ocean, honey, I never thought you'd refuse to support your cousin's special day. My grip falters. A plate nearly slips from my hands. Grandma, I wasn't invited. Silence. Then her voice hardens. That's not what Marlene told me. She said you couldn't put your jealousy aside for one day. After the call, I stand motionless at the sink. Water running over my hands until it chills from warm to cold. That's when the truth stares me in the face. My family has weaponized narrative. They are building a version of me as the jealous, dramatic cousin, the one who couldn't be trusted not to ruin things. And once that image cements, it will stain every relationship I have left. Days later, the consequences arrive with the precision of a well-aimed spear. Barden Media cancels our spring campaign. The email is polite, but brutal. We've heard you can be difficult to work with. We need someone who fits our collaborative culture. 3 days later, Westerly Home Goods pulls out of preliminary discussions. Between the two, I lose $27,000 in projected income. I trace the connections like lines on a corkboard. Barden's marketing director plays tennis with my uncle. Westerly's owner attends Marlene's church. Coincidence? I think not. Sleep slips away from me. Nights stretch long and raw as I sit hunched over my computer. Redesigning my portfolio website. Every pixel adjustment feels like grasping at control. A way to reclaim my identity from the lies being whispered behind my back. By 3 a.m., my eyes burn from the screen's glare. But I can't stop. How many hours will it take to outrun their shadows? My once stable routine fractures. I stop visiting Marigold Coffee, my favorite cafe, because Marlene's Bridge Club meets there on Thursdays. I start shopping at a grocery store 15 minutes away after spotting my mother's friend Caroline examining apples in my usual produce section. Even social media becomes self-inflicted harm. Each notification spikes my heart rate. Leaves my fingers cold. So I start documenting everything. Dates, words, who was present. I fill a leather-bound journal with meticulous notes. Like a detective collecting evidence for a trial that may never come. The act grounds me. Proof that I'm not imagining this. Proof that gaslighting only works if you doubt your own reality. Then one Sunday morning, my phone buzzes with an anonymous text. Some people aren't stable enough to attend formal events. Your absence is a kindness to everyone. The phrasing is familiar. It reeks of Marlene's particular brand of cruelty. Wrapped in a ribbon of false concern. The phone slips from my hand onto the couch as something deep inside me finally fractures. The doorbell rings at that exact moment. At first, I think about ignoring it. Then I hear her voice. Ocean? I know you're in there. I brought Thai food and wedding magazines. It's Isla, my best friend, my lifeline. I open the door to find her standing there. Arms full. A paper bag from Bangkok Kitchen and a stack of glossy bridal magazines. Her camera bag dangles from one shoulder. Curls damp from the drizzle outside. What are you doing here? My voice sounds hollow, even to me. Saving you from yourself, she says, breezing past me into the apartment. Let's plan something that's actually worth celebrating. A day about joy. Not appearances. I barely have time to respond before a silver sedan pulls into the visitor parking spot outside. My mother's car. My stomach clenches. Client call in 5 minutes. I mutter, grabbing my laptop as a shield. My mother knocks once, then twice, before letting herself in without waiting. Isla squeezes my shoulder and retreats to the kitchen with our food. Mom sits primly on my couch. Handbag balanced on her knees. Her eyes scan the room like a judge surveying a crime scene. We need to talk. Ocean, this has gone far enough. The invitations are already printed. What invitations? I ask, still standing. The imbalance of power suddenly clear. Fiona's wedding invitations. She smooths a wrinkle from her slacks. You need to let this go. This isn't about an invitation. My voice surprises me with its clarity. It's about years of being treated as less than. Her face hardens. If you can't support Fiona's happiness, maybe you're not the daughter I thought you were. The words should hurt. Once, they would have gutted me. But now, they simply illuminate something I've never allowed myself to see. I straighten my shoulders. reclaiming the full height I've unconsciously diminished in her presence for years. I'm exactly the daughter you raised. I tell her, voice steady. I just stopped playing the role you assigned me. For the first time in weeks, I feel the ground solid beneath my feet. Not because she approves, but because I no longer need her approval. Outside, a cardinal flits across my balcony railing. A flash of red against the gray drizzle. Inside, for the first time, I breathe without shrinking. The drizzle hasn't stopped when I wake up the next morning. Portland's skyline is cloaked in fog. The streets glistening with last night's rain. I sit at my desk. A lukewarm cup of coffee at my side. Staring at a half-finished logo design. My inbox is overflowing with client requests. Yet my fingers refuse to move. The weight of my family's silence. The smear campaign trickling into my professional life. Sits on my chest like a stone. My phone buzzes with a notification. And instinctively, my pulse spikes. It's Instagram again, this time Fiona's save the date announcement. A glossy photo of her and her fiancé twirling under fairy lights. The caption carefully curated, "Can't wait to celebrate with our closest family and friends on May 15th at the Grand Monarch Hotel." May 15th. My breath catches. Isla and I had just circled that date for a small, intimate gathering of our own, a dinner with friends. Meant as an antidote to the rejection that had been burning holes in me. A coincidence? Or something more sinister? The comment section buzzes with congratulations. But my stomach twists. My event is being overshadowed before it even begins. And by the same family that excluded me in the first place. By afternoon, my phone is on fire with texts. Cousin Rachel. Wait, I thought the wedding was in June? Uncle David. Why does Fiona keep changing the date? The cracks are showing. Different relatives have been fed different stories. And now those lies are colliding. That evening, when my grandmother's name flashes on my phone, I hesitate before answering. Ocean? Her voice is smaller than I remember. Fragile. I'd like to hear your side of this wedding business. My throat tightens. For months, I've been painted as jealous, unstable, dramatic. But here is my grandmother, the matriarch. The one voice still respected in the family, asking for my truth. Grandma, I whisper, I was never invited. They told you I refused. But I wasn't given a choice. Silence stretches, and I can almost hear her breathing. Uneven but thoughtful. A second call beeps in, my mother. I let it go to voicemail. When I listen later, her voice is strained, desperate to sound casual. We need to talk about a compromise. Can we meet tomorrow? It's urgent. Compromise. The word tastes like poison. After weeks of slander, they want to negotiate? Still, curiosity stirs. What could they possibly offer? The knock comes at 8:15 the next morning. Through the peephole, I see my mother clutching her purse with white knuckles. And Marlene beside her, posture stiff, handbag swinging like a weapon. I consider pretending I'm not home. But the truth demands confrontation. Sweetheart, my mother says as I open the door. Her tone sweet as artificial sugar. We thought we should talk. They sit on my couch as though they own it. Their eyes skimming over design samples scattered across my coffee table, watercolor sketches of flower arrangements. Hand-lettered menus, mood boards of amber and sage. This has gone too far. Marlene says sharply, dispensing with pleasantries. 2 events on the same day divides the family. People will have to choose sides. My mother leans forward, lowering her voice as though sharing a secret. Your grandmother is very stressed. At her age, this kind of conflict isn't good for her heart. We're asking you to cancel your party. Attend Fiona's reception, the evening portion only. That way, you're included without disrupting the day. Manipulation so transparent it almost makes me laugh. Instead, I rise and retrieve a leather portfolio from my desk. I set it on the table and flip it open. Page by page, hand-drawn sketches of an intimate seaside ceremony. Table settings I've designed, playlists I've curated. This is what Mateo and I are planning. I say evenly. 18 guests. Not a wedding. Not a performance. A celebration of authenticity. We set the date weeks before Fiona changed hers. Marlene scoffs. Playing dress up won't change the fact that Fiona's wedding is the real event. Something in me snaps. Not with rage but with clarity. I meet her gaze. Steady. I'm not playing anything. This is my life. My profession. While you've been spinning stories about my jealousy, I've been building a design business. 3 national brands have hired me because of these portfolios. I slide a brochure across the table. My logo embossed in gold. This condo was bought with work you call a hobby. My mother's face falters. For the first time, I see her doubt Marlene's narrative. Her eyes land on a photo of Matteo and me at his villa. Sunlight spilling across the page. Were we really that cruel? She whispers. Marlene bristles, standing abruptly. Ridiculous. I won't sit here while she twists everything around. She storms to the door but pauses with her hand on the knob. Fiona's wedding costs $95,000. 200 guests. That's what a real celebration looks like. I smile, not cruelly but firmly. That sounds lovely. I hope she feels truly seen there. The door slams behind her. My mother remains seated, smaller than I've ever seen her. You taught me I wasn't worth including. I say softly, but I taught myself I was worth celebrating. Her phone buzzes with a text. She reads it, face paling. It's your cousin Deborah, she mutters. She's asking if she can come to your ceremony instead of Fiona's. How does she even know about it? I shrug, my voice calm. The same way they knew about excluding me. People talk. When she leaves, I water my balcony garden. The smell of damp soil rising in the cool air. For the first time, I feel no urge to explain myself. Let them spin their stories. I've begun writing my own. That evening, Matteo calls, his voice electric. Ocean, you won't believe this. That wedding blog I mentioned, Modern Celebrations, they want to feature our event. They love the concept, an intimate designers gathering, focused on authenticity over extravagance. I lean against the balcony railing. The cardinal swooping past once again, its feathers flashing red against the fading sky. I whisper to myself, more than to Matteo. For the first time, I don't feel erased. I feel free. 7 weeks pass, and the world tilts in a way I never imagined possible. Matteo shows me the statistics one quiet morning. His laptop glowing on our small kitchen table. 80,000 likes, he says. Disbelief and pride tangled in his voice. I blink at the screen. There it is. Our photo. The 2 of us laughing on the villa terrace. Sunlight washing over the table I had set with amber flowers and hand-lettered place cards. Below, hundreds of comments flood in. This is what weddings should feel like. Real. Meaningful. Not staged. Ocean's attention to detail is breathtaking. Finally, someone prioritizing authenticity over extravagance. I laugh softly, though tears prick the edges of my vision. For years, I sat through dinners where Fiona's choices were toasted and mine ignored. And now, strangers are celebrating me. Celebrating us. Fiona's $95,000 spectacle at the Grand Monarch Hotel has faded into the endless stream of social media. Barely a ripple, but our modest 18-guest gathering? It's gone viral. My design calendar, once spotty, now bulges with appointments. 3 major brands reach out in 1 week alone, each citing the Modern Celebrations feature. Then an email lands like a gift from the universe. California Wedding Quarterly wants an interview. Specifically about my design philosophy. Substance over flash. I turn to Matteo, my voice a mix of awe and irony. They excluded me so I wouldn't steal focus. And now? I gesture to the inbox brimming with inquiries. Now I'm headlining. The doorbell rings. A courier stands with a cream-colored envelope scrawled in Marlene's familiar handwriting. Inside is a letter, terse and cold. Out of respect for Fiona's privacy during this difficult time, decline the magazine feature immediately. My hands should shake. Weeks ago, they would have. Instead, a calm certainty settles over me. I tuck the letter back into its envelope, place it in a drawer, and pull out a fresh sheet of paper. My note writes itself. I'm not competing with Fiona. I'm completing my own story. I slip it into an envelope with a copy of my latest portfolio feature and seal it without hesitation. 2 days later, Isla calls, her voice buzzing with excitement. It's confirmed. You're the headliner at the Seattle Showcase, 30 designers. All reimagining tradition. They want you to open the event. The showcase is held at a restored estate north of the city. High ceilings, chandeliers, gardens blooming with late spring roses. Isla toasts at the opening reception, raising her glass high, to writing ourselves into stories worthy of our lives. The room erupts with applause. I stand surrounded by artists, friends, collaborators, people who see me not as a shadow but as a light of my own. The contrast to family gatherings is jarring. No thin smiles, no backhanded compliments, just celebration. The following month, Matteo and I move into a modest apartment overlooking downtown. Smaller than my condo, but brighter. Our evenings fill with possibility. Wine on the balcony. Sketches pinned across the walls. Client meetings that end in laughter. I'm arranging prints for my new office when the doorbell rings. I open it to find Marlene, rigid as ever, and Fiona standing just behind her, eyes downcast. This has gone far enough. Marlene snaps, striding into my apartment uninvited. The magazine, the showcase, was it all necessary? Were you so desperate to prove a point? I study her face and feel something unexpected, compassion. For years, I let her shape me into the family scapegoat. Not anymore. You think this is about you? My voice is quiet, steady. It's not. It's the first time I've celebrated without worrying how you'd twist it. Fiona shifts uncomfortably, opening her mouth, but Marlene silences her with a look. You're selfish. Always have been. I meet her eyes, unflinching. No, I'm simply done begging for a seat at a table that was never meant for me. They leave shortly after, Marlene stiff-backed, Fiona glancing back with something softer, regret. Maybe, or longing. I don't know. I may never know. That night, sitting with Matteo on our balcony, I think about the family narrative they tried to write me into, the jealous cousin, the drama queen, the unstable one. I think about the narrative I've built instead, designer, partner, friend, creator. One is a prison, the other, a garden. Sometimes healing doesn't come from fixing broken ties. Sometimes healing comes from planting new roots and letting old ones rot where they stand. 3 days before my showcase in Seattle, the knock comes again. This time, I expect a courier with fabric samples or maybe Isla dropping by unannounced. But when I peer through the peephole, my breath stutters. My mother, beside her, Aunt Marlene, both women carry themselves like generals arriving at a battlefield. I open the door because hiding feels like conceding. And I am done conceding. Sweetheart, my mother begins, her voice coated with artificial warmth. We thought we should talk. They settle on my sofa like they own the place. Gazes sweeping over the watercolor sketches and mock-ups spread across the coffee table. Marlene wastes no time. We're here to propose a compromise, she announces, her tone clipped, like she's offering me a settlement after a long court case. My mother folds her hands, wedding ring twisting nervously. You can attend Fiona's reception, the evening portion only, but in exchange, you cancel your gathering. My gathering, I repeat, rolling the words like stones on my tongue. Yes, Marlene says sharply. Think about how this looks. 2 events on the same day divide the family. People are being forced to choose sides. And your grandmother. Her voice hardens. Your grandmother's health is fragile. This conflict is stressful for her heart. Do you really want that on your conscience? Manipulation masquerading as concern. My laugh comes out low, almost pitying. You don't want a compromise. You want control. I stand, walk to my desk, and return with my leather portfolio. Flipping it open, I show them hand-painted menus. Flower arrangements in shades of amber and sage. Table settings carefully arranged. This isn't a protest party. It's not about Fiona. It's about authenticity. 18 guests. People who love us, not appearances. My mother leans forward, eyes lingering on the sketches. Her brows knit in confusion. But, why didn't you tell us? I slide another folder across the table, mock-ups of invitations I never sent. Because you excluded me, and I respected your decision. For a flicker of a second, her face softens, almost guilty, but Marlene leans back, scoffing. Ridiculous. This doesn't change anything. Fiona's wedding is the real event. Playing designer won't make you matter more. Something sharp inside me crystallizes into calm. I don't need to matter more. I only need to matter to the right people. Marlene rises abruptly, fury flashing. Fiona's wedding cost $95,000. 200 guests. That's what a celebration looks like. That sounds perfect for Fiona. I say evenly. I hope she feels truly seen there. The words are not venom but liberation. For once, I don't shrink under her glare. After she storms out, my mother remains seated, smaller than I've ever seen her. Her voice wavers. Were we really that cruel? I don't answer with rage. I answer with truth. You taught me I wasn't worth including. I taught myself I was worth celebrating. Her phone buzzes. She glances down, color draining from her cheeks. It's Deborah, she murmurs. She's asking if she can come to your ceremony instead of Fiona's. How did she even find out? I shrug, my voice steady. The same way everyone found out about excluding me. People talk. When she leaves, I water my balcony garden. The soil is damp, the scent grounding. In the fading light, a cardinal swoops down again, perching on the railing as if to remind me, freedom is not given. It is claimed. That evening, Mateo bursts into the apartment, a grin tugging his lips. You won't believe this. Modern celebrations just confirmed. They're not only featuring our ceremony. They want a full interview on your design process. You're redefining what modern weddings can look like. I sink into his embrace. Laughter bubbling up through tears I didn't know I still carried. For the first time since those bridal shower photos shattered me, I feel something untainted, joy. Outside, the cardinal takes flight into the violet dusk. Inside, I whisper the truth I once thought impossible. I am not erased. I am free. The Seattle showcase feels like stepping into a dream I once thought belonged to someone else. The estate's chandeliers sparkle above. Gardens outside hum with spring roses. And every corner of the grand hall buzzes with designers, editors, and photographers. Isla squeezes my hand before I step on stage. Her camera slung over her shoulder. Her smile the steady anchor it has always been. Ladies and gentlemen, the host announces, our headliner, Ocean, whose work has redefined what a modern celebration can look like. Applause washes over me as I walk to the podium. My portfolio is projected on the screen behind me. Images of hand-painted menus, pressed flower invitations, and amber-lit tablescapes. Not Fiona's grandeur, but mine. My voice doesn't shake as I speak. Design isn't about extravagance. It's about meaning. It's about honoring authenticity, even when the world tells you to perform instead. When I finish, the room erupts again. Flashbulbs strobe like tiny stars. By the end of the evening, 3 editors request interviews, 2 national brands ask for meetings, and strangers line up to shake my hand. For once, the narrative is mine, and it's louder than the whispers my family tried to bury me under. But not everyone is cheering. The following week, a knock rattles my apartment door. I open it to find Fiona, not Marlene. Not my mother, just Fiona. She looks nothing like the glowing bride from Instagram. Her eyes are tired, her smile hesitant. Can I come in? She asks softly. I let her. She stands in my living room, eyes darting over sketches pinned to the wall. I didn't know, she blurts. About the texts. About the smear campaign. Marlene told me you declined. She told everyone. I thought, her voice cracks. I thought you didn't want to be there. Her confession sinks into me like cold water. And you never asked me? I was afraid, she admits. Afraid you'd say no. Afraid you'd steal the spotlight like they always said. There it is, the poison they fed her to. I never wanted to steal anything. I say, voice calm but firm. I only wanted to be seen. She nods, tears streaking her cheeks. I see you now, and I'm sorry. It's tempting to believe that apology could heal years of erasure. But wounds don't vanish with one confession. They scar, they ache, they remind. Still, for the first time, I feel the anger loosen its grip. Thank you, I whisper, but I can't go back to who I was. I won't. She leaves quietly, shoulders hunched, her expensive perfume lingering long after. 2 nights later, at Mateo's villa on the coast, I host what we promised ourselves, a dinner for 18. Friends fill the long wooden table, Isla snapping photos, Thomas pouring wine, Gianna fussing with wildflowers she picked that morning. Laughter echoes across the terrace as the Pacific stretches out. Endless and forgiving. My parents aren't here. Neither is Marlene. But the people who matter are. At sunset, Mateo raises his glass. To ocean, he says, eyes glowing in the amber light. For reminding us that worth isn't given, it's created. Glasses clink. Applause. Warmth. For once, I don't feel like the afterthought in my own story. I feel like the headline. When the evening winds down, my phone buzzes with a message from my grandmother. I'm proud of you, Ocean. I see now what they tried to hide. Call me tomorrow. Tears blur the horizon as I set the phone aside. Maybe reconciliation is possible in fragments. With those willing to face the truth. Maybe not. But either way, I've built something stronger. A chosen family. A thriving career. A life no one else gets to author. Weeks later, when California Wedding Quarterly publishes my interview, the headline reads, Ocean's Vision. Redefining celebrations through authentic design. The magazine sells out in Portland within days. My inbox overflows again, and tucked among the emails is one I never expected, from a young designer in Chicago. Your story saved me. My family never believed in me either. Thank you for showing me it's possible. I close my laptop, stepping out onto the balcony where the air smells of salt and new beginnings. A flash of red catches my eye, the cardinal. Back again, wings slicing across the twilight. It lands for a moment on the railing, tilts its head, then soars upward into the violet sky. I smile, steady and unshaken. I am not erased. I am not a shadow. I am free.